Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to welcome to Applegum Learning Story Space children's storybook author Doli Lizaso. So, Dolly, what should people know about your background? Like, where are you based? What's your day
Uh-huh.
job? Any children or pets?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm from the Philippines originally. We've lived in Singapore for the past, let me see, probably 18 years. I work as a primary school teacher at the French school. And after the COVID period, I realized that there are a lot of stories that needed to be written, not just for children, but for young adults too. I haven't gotten to that part, but I've started writing for children and decided I should get into publishing them as well. I don't have any pets. I have 5 children, and that's enough responsibilities, I feel. Um, and I look forward to be able to write more stories in the future. That's it about me.
Wow. All right. Well, what inspired you to start writing children's storybooks?
Okay. As a as an early grades teacher, I often find myself with pockets of time where I don't really have a book that I want to read, so I make it up as I go along. What happens is that I use whoever is around me as characters in the story. So, for example, I have children who were really well behaved that day, and I would like to give them some kind of praise. I would include them in the story. And on the other hand, if I had children who were not particularly behaved that day, and I wanted to illustrate the point of you should try your best to behave, and I will use them as villains in the story just to drive a certain value or a certain point. So the inspiration are the children around me and making these stories over and over again with little variations in them. I thought if the children really enjoy this process of listening to the stories that I make, then I might as well start writing them and eventually publishing them. So those were the roots.
Oh, thanks, Dolly.
Mm.
And it's always fun working with children, so I'm sure every day is a fun day for you. Um, so to date, you
It
have
can be
written,
tiring.
yes, I'm sure. Uh, so to date, you have written three wonderful children's storybooks. One of them is this one, New Wolf on the Block, and
Uh-huh.
the other one is Wilma
For my
Needs
needs.
Shoes, which we
Mm-hmm.
will read together, and then the
Mm-hmm.
Seamstress and the Shoemaker. So, which
That's
of
right.
your three books is your favorite and
It's
why?
difficult. Yeah, it's a difficult choice to make because books are like your children. You can't play favorites, right? However, if pressed to answer that question, I would say it would still be the very first one, although it's an iteration of a very old, a classic story. That's because it speaks to anyone who's ever left a different country, their country for a different place. It speaks to anyone who has the nomadic or a diaspora experience. And so, any Filipino or anyone in the world who's ever had to integrate themselves to a different culture, to you as well, um, who had a language barrier to go get through, and who also has the cultural differences that they have to deal with, the cultural shock that they have to deal with, who've had been pigeonholed into a certain culture, a certain way of being. It's not necessarily them that is the problem, but they'd have to deal with that. They've had to get through that to be able to make friends, to be able to establish a life at a different place. So in, that's the short reason why I will always prefer the first one.
Well, I can relate to that, Dolly, as you know, because I have moved from the Philippines to Australia. So
Hmm.
I can relate.
Exactly.
Well, where can we purchase your awesome books?
Thank you. I I have them in Amazon. I do keep a certain amount of copies at any point, just because I would often visit schools, and I still have friends who will say, if we'd like to donate X number of books to a public school in the Philippines, and it is possible to do it through me, but they are in Amazon and it should be accessible everywhere in the world.
Awesome. Amazon.com. We shall go to
That's right.
Amazon to buy your one. Well, you're a teacher and you're also a mom. Can you give maybe one or two tips for teachers or parents of young children regarding storytelling or story reading?
Perfect question, because I've had a few parents come to class this week because it's book week at school, and they bring different energies into the reading process, but there's always that willingness, right? So watch your energy when you read to children, because the same passion, the same buzz that you generate towards the story affects the whole process, and how children take to the book is how you took to the book. So that energy, you have to watch it. So if you'd like children to get excited or to be very thoughtful or reflective in the way they relate to the story, so you bring the same thoughtfulness or joy in your storytelling. And over and above that is also this act, especially in at home, um, around bedtime, when you read to your child. I think it's important to remember that more than the story read, it's the connection that you are having with your child that's also equally important.
Oh, that's lovely. Watch your energy and connection with your child or children. It's so true because kids are like sponges, isn't
They
it?
are.
And
Mhm.
that those are very precious moments, story reading time, storytelling time.
They
So,
become part of core memory.
yes, this is
Yeah.
true. So you said you have 5 kids. I know all of them are
Mhm.
now grown ups, but
Yes.
can you name one storybook or one book which
Mm.
you really, really loved reading to perhaps your 5 children or any of
Mhm.
your children when they were young? And why is that
Mhm.
your favorite book to read to them?
Okay. Um, Before I answer that question, did I read a lot of Dr. Seuss
Oh,
to my children because of the rhyme, because of the language play. But something that I really take to, that I feel is important to read to children, is something about difference, which is Ferdinand the Bully, the Bull, Ferdinand the Bull. I don't know if so. It's about this bull who doesn't want to fight in the bull rings of Madrid. He was a different one. He's a big one, but he doesn't want to fight, so he's different. I think there was a movie by Sandra Bullock where she read this story to her adopted son, and to her own children. So it's Ferdinand. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. I can't remember who the who the author is, but I recall the cover to be red, and I know that I have a dog-eared copy somewhere that I had found difficult to let go when we left for Singapore, because I had read that many times to my children, and they remember it.
Ferdinand the
The
Bull. Wow.
bull,
Okay,
yeah.
well, I'm going to look for that. And maybe someday we will read it to our grandchildren, Dolly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So get ready to enjoy our storytelling of Dolly's books here at Applegum Learning Story Space.